Eagles Panthers for 45 minutes.
Yeah, we're gonna need someone to herd the sheep here, or else we're gonna get stuck in neutral very quickly.
We are online and starting up, ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna show Shenanigans in just a minute here. Oh, it shows Shenanigans. Welcome to the stream.
Where are we?
We're live right now. You can't see anything.
Awesome.
Might as well introduce, right? And then we can kind of kick it in. So first, I'm gonna send the YouTube video to everybody. I don't care that anybody's listening. Episode number 1. Doesn't really matter.
Episode 1, season 1.
It's
we
the pilot.
are here, boys.
It's the pilot.
Yeah, we probably will get canceled though. So here you go.
Again,
here you go.
the
Renee.
legal issues are going to be what weigh us
Now
down. The man is out to get us.
Is it live now?
Oh, it's live. Well, do it live.
Are you seeing us?
No, you can't see us. You can see the logo though.
Sweet.
You can hear us, though.
You can definitely hear us though. She should be able to
Looks
hear
like
us.
5-2 Yankees.
Fuck off.
Oh God.
No way.
Yeah, I see the logo.
Okay. But
Fun times in Cleveland, huh?
thank you, Chris. I was waiting for you to get your Indian
You're a
jersey in the
diehard
mail.
fan,
but
aren't you?
goodness,
I'm surprised
What?
you're not wearing them.
No, I was up until now.
It's not too late to return that MLB package that's coming for you. Just ship it right back and get a Yankees jersey in the mail. After all, you probably ate a New York-based food at one point.
I don't think I could name 2 Browns.
Pizza. I
Sean
can.
Kaiser and Kevin Hogan.
There you go.
I've got 5 pages of notes, so I've got plenty of Browns players.
Yeah,
to talk
Chris probably
about.
has the blood type of all the players he's going to discuss tonight.
Where's BK in this group?
Yeah,
Send it to
Miles
them.
Garrett is O negative.
Josh, where the fuck are you?
BK is going to be like, why wasn't I invited? You're sending it to people who like weren't invited to be a part of the podcast.
BK is doing homework right now.
Kyle.
So.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having Kyle in here?
Car payments. Oh shit, this is live.
Oh, you just texted us. I have the link. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Maybe I'll just tune in so it looks like we have more people. I have 2 cell phones here. Log in twice.
All right, so let's go to the video.
Somehow we have like 12,000 views on the pilot.
The good news is we haven't
All right, let's
incorporated
do
yet,
it.
so they don't
Let's
have a place
start.
to
Let's
send
go.
our...
You ready? Ladies
All
and
right.
gentlemen, you ready to start this up?
Haven't we been live
Let's
for
do
like
it.
5 minutes?
We have, but we have to introduce ourselves, tell everybody what we're about, I guess, so that they know.
Oh God.
We're about mediocre fantasy advice. Is
So
that right?
welcome, I guess, is the way to put it, right? Welcome to the podcast, everybody. Shenanigans Football Live. Football Shenanigans Live? Football Shenanigans. I don't know.
It's
We haven't,
something. I
even, we
don't
haven't
know
even decided yet. All right.
Whichever one is less legal trouble.
There you go.
And there we are, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what you're doing over there, but stop bouncing around, Mr. Rams. You look like you're at a strip club or
Yep,
a really
exactly.
nice bathroom.
It's purple
Getting
from here. It looks
slapped
more
in the
like a
face with
Viking
some
jersey.
Yeah, I think it's a Viking jersey.
It looks like a Viking jersey.
I
Yeah,
noticed.
Brad-
that's why
Bradford?
it says Rams.
Is that Bumblebee on your head?
Love this group. Love this team. Love this podcast.
Well, everybody, that's a taste right there. Yeah, this is Football Shenanigans Live. We're going to go through all the definite matchups of the week, talk about our favorite fantasy players, talk a little shit.
I thought we were talking baseball.
Yeah, well, no, we're not. It's over. So,
That's Packard preparedness right there.
Ooh, burn.
starting already. All right. Should we get into it? Well, oh, wait. I guess I got to tell you, everybody who you are. Coming
Well-
live to us from satellite from somewhere, what appears to be a 90-year-old woman's bathroom, is Josh Gronke from San Diego.
She's 87.
87? Oh, okay. Yeah? Who you repping? Who you repping, Josh?
I am repping the very shitty and always heartbreaking St. Louis, Los Angeles, Orange County Rams.
And what player?
Isaac Bruce today, greatest receiver, not in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, that's semi-accurate.
Okay, we're not even going to get into this right now because I could go on a 10-minute rant about Isaac Bruce, but
All right.
just move on.
Down at the other end, wearing that super stylish black and yellow.
Ooh, my name is Chris, and this is a James Harrison jersey.
Who?
James Harrison, the man who
So-
beat Father Time successfully.
You just got fined
Is he any
for saying
good?
that.
I just got fined.
Does he even play this season?
You just got fined for saying that he's the best. He was a good.
Unnecessary
Oh,
roughness right
I
out of the
got you.
gates.
No, James Harrison. He's going to play for another 5 years. He's going to be a stud. Yeah.
All right,
I mean,
moving
what
on.
What else is there
Yeah.
to say?
All right, and in the middle here,
Mike Pelton.
welcome to
Yep. Wearing
Formerly an
the
ABC.
same Charles Woodson jersey that I got kicked out of a bar
the
after
story is now legal.
after taking a picture with someone who thought I was Charles Woodson the night before the Super Bowl.
Well,
So
that's-
somewhere there's a picture that
Somebody-
somebody showed their friends that said, "Hey, you'll never believe who I saw in Scottsdale, Arizona the night before the Super Bowl." Charles Woodson.
What century is this, Mike?
All right. And
Wow.
myself, I am Adam Fabian, wearing Ryan Shazier. He's an up-and-comer. Maybe our defense will get it together. Maybe. Doubtful. So, all right. Might as well get started. So,
What is
Get
this
rolling.
podcast about?
it's just what is it about? Yeah. So it's
Porn
about football.
addiction.
It's about football, talking shit, enjoying football, watching the sport of football for what it is, not all the other nonsense that comes along with it. Talking to you, Goodell, you piece of shit, and all the other protests that are going on. Enjoying it, talking shit, playing fantasy, seeing what we can bet on, really, and embarrassing each other when we suck at it. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Seems about right.
And then we'll get to make fun of whoever sucks at pick'em. That seems about right. Yeah? Yeah? Great.
Chris will be a staple.
Chris has got a sheet of puns, by the way.
Yeah, we haven't got there
ladies
yet.
and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's
we
gonna
haven't
be a
even
fun
cracked into
surprise.
the sheet of puns yet, but
It's
when
typed.
We
is
apologize
typed.
in
It's
advance.
typed.
It is typed.
We apologize in advance because whatever company. I'm sorry. What was your company?
I can't classify
Okay,
this
yeah.
right now.
So whatever company he works for, if you know that face, that was done on company time. Just like
And company paper.
Damn it, am I going to be searching for a job in a company?
I'd start printing your resume on that.
Hey,
same
what
company
happened when
paper,
you applied at Staples
Chris is
that one
gonna write
time?
a book, How I Got Fired from a Podcast.
Or how he didn't get hired at Staples about 10 years ago.
That book
yes.
actually might sell.
All right, are we going to
We'll have
start
to
with
get
these
into the
games?
story.
Let's do it. Let's get started.
This is what, week 6?
Week 6. So, I guess we can run through records as well, and we can start with records as well as who's playing who. We're gonna do the first game together. Nobody really specified to look this one up. So, first game tomorrow night, 8:25. Philadelphia Eagles at the Carolina Panthers. Both teams are 4-1. Both NFC teams. Both are coming off of. Let's see. So, Eagles have the best of the last 3 head-to-heads, 2 out of 3. What do we think? I would go, me personally, I'm going to stick with the Eagles.
Eagles.
I don't think the Panthers have enough on offense to really beat the Eagles. I think the Eagles will just outscore them.
I'm going with Eagles as well, despite Carolina being an early 3-point favorite.
There come the stats.
Thank you, Swami. I'm going to take the Panthers as the home favorite because I just see them getting the momentum off the Detroit win. They're rolling right now, and if Funchess is healthy, they don't have enough secondary help in Philadelphia.
Cam's been 2 up and down. I'm still going Philly.
Bunches of funches.
Carson Wentz has been on fire, and Josh is off to an 0-1 start. Moving on.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Eagles looked good last week, right?
They did.
Blowing out the. But I mean, every time the Cardinals get trotted out to the East Coast, it's just like
That
it's just a
retirement
slaughter.
community out in Glendale is not going to do well with AP. I don't think anything's going to happen there. Their offensive line can't even open one hole for anybody.
Well, he can average 3 yards a carry.
They have the
3.2.
2009 Dream Team.
And then he can yell it. I can't wait to see him yell at Red-Faced Tomato out there.
Oh, Mr. Kangle himself.
Yeah.
All right, so consensus Eagles. Is everybody going with the Eagles, or did you
No,
pick?
two
Oh,
of them went
they
with
picked
the other-
Panthers?
Yes. Were you not listening?
No, I
No,
wasn't.
Josh went with the Panthers.
Josh
I
went-
think.
I am the lone wolf.
Oh, well, okay. So, all right. Any fantasy advice for those out there?
Who's keeping track of this?
Honestly, I think if you're not picking up Nelson Aguilar,
He looks good.
yeah, he does look good. Nelson Aguilar looks good. Carson Wentz looks good. I don't think either of the running backs on the Eagles are worth anything, really. Christian McCaffrey scored his first touchdown, but I don't think he's going to be that consistent. And Cam is always a good fantasy play.
Yeah. Wendell Smallwood, you might want to hang on to for later in the season, but don't start him this week.
I just can't take you seriously.
It's really hard to.
Hey, 4-1 in the fantasy league and first place, so suck it.
Wow. Breaking out the fantasy record, middle of the season.
Yeah.
Thank
You
you for
better
that.
believe
We
it.
all heard that.
Thank you for that, Chris. You're also the receptionist, right? You're keeping track of the pick'em. Is that correct?
I am indeed. Oh, actually, let's write our initials here instead.
Yeah,
of
because you haven't
Dallas.
even written anything down yet.
Josh,
Fantastic, Chris.
Mike,
Thank you
you're-
so
That
much.
is
You
U
have
of A
26
being
pages
at
of
the top
company
of its
paper and you
game.
haven't written anyone.
Mike is going to be D for douchebag.
You have a whole ream of paper. I think you printed on 5, but you have the other 200 sheets behind. For next
They're going
week.
to call in tomorrow.
next
Why are we
week,
spending
triple weight
$40 a
card
week on paper?
Yeah, week 7.
Troop weight card stock.
Why don't you laminate it while you're there?
This is high quality paper, so shut your faces.
All right,
I
here
would
we
hope
go.
so. For how much?
Here we
You're
go. Here
stealing
we
from
go.
the
All
company.
right, so going on to the next one, right? Down one. This is my game. Bears versus Ravens. I don't know anybody that would pick against the Ravens, to be honest with you.
At home.
At home, pissed off, not doing great. They were down. They were doing fantastic for 2 weeks. Then they were terrible for 2 weeks, and then they were above average last week. So
You don't think Trubisky's the answer? He's
I
going to
think
come in.
Trubisky actually is the answer, but I don't think this year he's the answer. I think that he's gonna be the answer. That kid has some talent. He's athletic. He seems not as stupid as Jay Cutler, and I think that's a better thing for Chicago. Personally, my pick is definitely the Ravens. I'm taking the Ravens over everybody in this one. I got fantasy advice for everyone out there. If you don't have Alex Collins, try and get him. He is a fantastic pickup because he's a third string, probably flex player, but he's going to get a lot of carries because their line is beat up, and Flacco can't seem to get it together this year. Otherwise, Benjamin Watson, tight end for the Ravens. He also picks up a lot as well. So, Bears-wise, fuck, man. Every week is somebody different. I'll tell you, don't pick up Marcus Wheaton. He has not caught anything. Nobody even knows that he exists on that team anywhere.
Who?
He still plays?
Yeah, he still plays.
Who?
Marcus Wheaton.
Sounds like an A already.
Tay
Right.
Wheaton.
And then Tariq Cohen, of course, you can pick him up. I honestly wouldn't be too against picking up the Bears defense if you really were trying to feel risky because the Ravens just don't seem to have that offensive line.
Okay.
They'll probably get a bunch of sacks.
Josh, who are you going with here?
You know, if it was Mr. Mike Glennon and his clutch performances, I might take the Bears here, but I think slick old Mitchell is going to throw a bunch of interceptions, and it's going to be Ravens rolling at home.
Slick old Mitchell.
Slick old Mitchell, huh? All right. Okay. So
Slick old
we got
Mitchell.
Ravens,
Copyright.
Two for Ravens. Oh, are you writing over there? Okay.
I am.
Mike.
All right, Tammy. I want Tammy to go first because that's going to determine what I do.
Tammy,
At
Tino.
the speed of wind he's typing over there.
Really? Well, reluctantly, I'm going to have to pick the Ravens for all the reasons said before me. So, yeah.
Any other insights?
Stellar input.
Any other insights into the game?
I thought the Ravens played better than expected at Oakland last week. I actually started
Everyone
that
beats
defense.
Oakland.
I
Now
started
without
that
Carr,
defense,
yeah.
and I got -1 points. Still won the week though because of my other starts. But yeah, I think they win handily. I would pick. They're 6.5-point favorites, but I would go over the spread on this one. So
You're taking over the spread. That's going to be a ballsy pick. I actually think this game is going to be a little bit closer than that.
Yeah, it's in. Okay, it's working. Chris.
Yeah, I'm going to go Chicago.
Really?
Ooh.
Wow.
Because this is the exact game. It's too obvious.
Your shirt just literally caught on fire.
It's too obvious. Baltimore's going to win.
You think it's upset city?
I think it's upset city. This is the exact type of game you go put $2,000 on and the Bears win.
Honestly, I would have taken this as a lock game, but we can figure that out
I
later.
know you can figure that out later, but this is a game I'm going to jump ahead of you guys in the
Hey,
standings.
Chris,
So
you hear how the two men at the table are speaking into the mic? You should speak loudly.
yeah, are you talking from another room?
Because watch, you see how the lights go up and down when male, but then go ahead, speak.
It's like this.
Go ahead.
You guys,
There
you
you go.
guys are douchebags. Can you hear me?
That's much better.
Hi,
I
my
can
name is
literally
Chris.
hear you now. Fantastic.
You're a real boy now, Chris.
My name is Chris.
I didn't know this mic had a
Yeah.
muffler on it though.
A muffle? Did you?
There's a
spell
very
muffle?
good reason for that.
Yes,
Like an exhaust muffler?
like an exhaust muffler.
That's
All right,
It's
so
got
I'm,
like
I'm
a
going with
spring.
Chicago because if nothing else,
Don't silence my voice.
all right. So
they're
Chicago.
due for a win there. I'm going with Chicago. You got to pull ahead in the standings.
All right, there
I'm
it
going
is.
with Chicago.
No risk, no reward. We got our
All right,
first.
another 3-1.
There we go. All right, Browns Texans. Who is up with this game?
Why are we talking about this game?
Ooh, Browns.
Oh, here
Texans.
we go.
Here come
we
the
go.
notes, baby.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
hang,
brace yourselves, America.
hang on to your maxi pad.
Suddenly that audio is starting to peak here. He's like, oh, my game.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I've never heard anyone so excited about Browns Texans.
the exciting 0-5 Browns at the 2-3 Texans.
Okay, you're not announcing the game. Just
What?
People would
you're
like
not
to
calling
line
the
off
game. You're
before
not in the
10
press box right now.
And as expected, the Browns are out of the gate like Seabiscuit if Eddie Lacy was the jockey.
There's the written down pun.
There's the pun. Yeah, I mean, this one,
We're
Honest-
sorry. We're so sorry, internet.
Oh my God.
honestly, I'm gonna do a little positive spin on the Browns here. They've actually got a better defense than most people think. They're actually ranked 5th in total defense in the season. Not sure if you guys knew that. 304 yards per game. They've got the most turnovers of any team, 11 interceptions this season. So, I mean, a sneaky good defense. Their number 1 pick, Myles Garrett, looks promising. He got a sack in his first
On his
NFL
first play?
snap. Yeah, his first NFL play. Yeah.
Out the gates
Are you
hot.
reading my notes? Yeah, out of the gates hot. So they force a lot of turnovers, and they do have a good defense. Unfortunately, you can't say the same about their offense. It's, a mess like it normally is. So this one's pretty obvious for me. I'm going to go with the Texans here, even though they are coming off a devastating loss in defense with J.J. Watt being out this year.
Yeah, I'll go with Deshaun. Simple as that. They look good. Brown. Yeah, I mean Browns might be 1-15. Do they play the Rams? That might be 2-14.
Rams are.
I just knew that was coming. No, we get to avoid them this year. Thankfully, that buzz saw of a game. I am going to pick the Texans, even though they don't really have anybody on the right side. Not only is Watt down, but Merciless went down 2 plays earlier. So it's going to be a rough ride for the Texans defense the rest of the year, but they're going to get a nice, easy win with Kevin Hogan because Stanford quarterbacks suck.
Yeah, I'm going with the Texans.
Okay, here's your one fantasy play.
Who's your fantasy?
Here's your
player?
must. Here's your
What
must
you got for
start.
us?
My fantasy play
Delicate voice.
for that game. Shut up. God damn it. All right. Well, my fantasy play, if you've got any Browns players and you want to start them, start Duke Johnson. He's been a very solid player, especially in PPR. He doesn't get many rushing yards, but he does very well in those short screen passes and
Try
in the
not to laugh
passing
at
game.
PPR.
Yeah. PPR
It's
points
very
per
well
reception.
enunciated.
Yeah, PPR.
I'm sorry. What was that?
fuck you. All right. On the Texans side,
We'd have 100 points per fuck you if we played that.
on the Texans side, if you were lucky enough to pick up Deshaun Watson quarterback, you're definitely starting him this week. I have him as a top 5 quarterback.
Did you rank all 32 quarterbacks?
I did
Or
actually.
I guess it would be what? How many teams are on a bye?
Wait till you
4.
see my love-hate list. We're
Oh,
going to get
no, we
sued
are
by
so
Matthew
getting sued.
Berry.
Are we getting to love-hate?
How about like-dislike?
Yeah, that's going to hold up well with the ESPN lawyers.
Yeah, fantastic.
Thank you, Chris.
We
You're
just want
welcome.
to say anybody that feels offended by us or that we're ripping something off, we didn't. This is amateur hour. I don't know what. We're not ripping anything off. If anything,
We
There's
wouldn't even
not
know
enough
how
to
to.
sue.
yeah,
Yeah.
we don't know what's going on.
I mean-
we're just guessing.
And all these picks are going to be wrong.
It's your fault if you're a Browns fan to begin with. So I mean,
Did everybody go? Did you pick Browns? Is that who you picked down there?
no,
I think we all locked on
I
the
picked
Texans.
All
Houston.
Texans. So
Yeah.
okay, so
That's our first lock-in.
lock of the game. All right, lock of the week so far.
All right, receptionist.
Lock.
And of course, we come to the next game, which is, I mean, just a fucking slaughterhouse. Packers.
Not necessarily though. I mean, Minnesota always plays Green Bay tough in
Packers,
Minnesota.
Vikings.
Very good defense.
Take it away.
I'm supposed to analyze this. I mean,
Yes, it's all you.
Pretty good. I mean, pretty good defense. It's going to be low scoring. Vikings are obviously a mess on offense. The only way Green Bay loses this game is if this scores below 20 points. If the Packers can get 21, it's game over. I'm going to go 21-16. Packers. They'll get a couple of touchdowns in there. Minnesota, yeah, just a train wreck offensively. They're going to have a difficult time scoring. My one fantasy play though would be Jerick McKinnon, and here's why.
Good call.
Minnesota has a good enough defense. They'll be able to lock down some of Green Bay's wide receivers. It's going to be a lower scoring game. The Packers aren't going to just huck it all over the place. Green Bay can't stop the run at all. Absolutely not. And the only way Minnesota has a chance to win is if they control the time of possession, run it a lot. Jerick McKinnon looked good last week. He's going to get a lot of touches. Green Bay can't stop the run. He should have a good game, but ultimately Green Bay is going to win this one. If you want to go with someone else, I'd say Randall Cobb, short passes.
So you're saying I should start Jerick McKinnon this week?
Maybe not you.
All
right.
Yeah, so if that wasn't clear, I'd go Green Bay pretty confident in this one, but closer than people might expect. At home, Minnesota plays them well.
Cool. So
Josh wasn't listening at all to any
No.
of that.
I was listening. I just was ignoring everything that you were talking up about the Packers because I just can't listen to you talk about
So
the
are
Packers
you going?
anymore.
Are you going Minnesota?
yeah, who's your pick?
Oh, so you
No.
got to go Minnesota here, right? So put
No,
Josh
it's still
down for the
Green Bay.
Vikings.
I just don't want to have to suffer through more of your loving and massaging of the Green Bay Packer ego. I just can't handle more of that.
I just said the defense of the Vikings is going to hold them down a little bit.
Not everybody.
I lived
has a
with you
team
for
that
2
they
years,
have
Mike. I've had to
hate.
deal with this shit for a very long time.
Not everybody has a team that they're forced to hate constantly.
That's true. Those poor, unfortunate souls.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Rams. Anyway,
I know.
So Josh, who is your pick?
Josh, who's your pick?
He's going Vikings.
Minnesota or Green Bay. Green Bay is going to win in Minnesota.
Of course they are.
Okay. Adam?
I'm definitely going with Green Bay. I don't think there's a chance in hell that the Vikings can score enough points to win this game.
Well, guys, looks like we're locking it in. Even though Green Bay is only a 3-point favorite, I say they get to win it on the road.
Thank you.
Are you like that voice that comes from above that you're like, wait, who's talking?
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
You guys are jealous of my home-cooked food. You're jealous of my radio voice.
To be fair, you
come
didn't
on.
cook the food.
Yeah,
We're jealous of your
I did not.
4-hour work
just
week.
hate it, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, 29th ranked defense.
That's not them.
Oh, you switched it through.
Yeah, switch it. All right, we're going to the next game.
But it is pretty low.
The next game,
Okay.
Lions versus Saints. This is mine.
That's a good game.
That actually is
That's
a good game. That one,
A
that one was
rare
tough
good
for
game.
me. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that one.
At home?
Yeah, so
No Adrian Peterson, though.
no AP.
Oh,
Yeah.
bummer.
No 3 yards of carry.
Honestly,
9 carries,
I
27
think that
yards.
I've been surprised by Stafford. I've been surprised by Stafford being as not terrible as he's been, but he's been average, not super great. Offensive comparison, you always look at Drew Brees, but Drew Brees always throws for 1,000,000 yards. They're averaging like 370. They don't. Neither team has a good rushing attack, but they're not the worst. I mean, they're 21st and 20th, but they're not good. Defensively, though, there's a huge disparity. The Saints are 29th in defense. The Lions, what are they, 12th, 11th, 10th, something like that. There's a huge disparity there. So, honestly, I don't know anything about the Saints line, but I think that the Lions are going to win this game.
It's Saints -5 right now.
Well, I don't go by the lines usually, but
I don't listen to Vegas.
no, they get some.
What do they
I
know?
don't listen to those experts.
I have to lean at the Lions only because of the fact I should pick New Orleans because they're at home. They're it's Drew Brees. They're in the dome, and Stafford doesn't really play that well on the road. But at the same time, I just don't think that the Saints have enough. They're just going to get shut down. I think that their secondary is actually pretty decent in Detroit this year. So I'm going Detroit in this one.
I'm going to have to disagree with you. I think it's time to roll out my boy, Alvin Kamara. I think it's his time to shine now that we got rid of AP's bitching and moaning and lack of production. I think the Saints are going to start running circles around the Lions secondary, and when they can't get past them, they're going to dump it off to AK, and it's going to be a Saints blowout.
AK only has 83 yards on the year. You know that, right?
Until Sunday.
Until Sunday.
Yeah.
You can put a 2 in front of that at that point.
And for the second time in his life, Josh might be premature with that pick.
All right.
Second time this week.
So that's one for Detroit, one for New Orleans. What do we got going on down here? We'll start with Green Bay since you're the rival.
Right here, I mean, and Josh is going to call me biased. I'm going to go with the home team here, Saints. I mean, Detroit's good, but, I mean, they're good at home. I don't know if it's going to travel. If this was in Detroit, I'd go Detroit. I'll go New Orleans. Yeah, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but Drew Brees wins this one.
Wow.
Go Tigers, right, Josh? Okay. So
Exactly.
You mark that down,
LSU
Tammy?
proud.
Sexy. Yeah, I did. Douchebag.
By the way, his name's Tammy.
Tammy Tino.
Yep. I got you down as douchebag. So
Best
anyway,
miscorrect ever. Best typo ever made.
yeah, a little backstory on that. Josh, he can't type very well on his phone or text, whatever. And it auto-corrected to Tammy from Fammy, so that's how I got that nickname. So thank you, Josh.
And it will stick. It's going to be there
Going to
forever.
stick.
Own your
Definitely
we
will stick.
appreciate
It's
that.
definitely.
Forever.
Yeah. Anyway,
Forever and ever?
Anyway, back to the pick. I'm going with Detroit, not because Adam picked it, but because
What a phenomenal insight.
Not because the guy two people overpicked it.
Fantastic.
I'm a believer in Matthew Stafford. I mean, he's getting paid what, like 150 million a year?
Not a year.
The entire salary cap is Matthew
I
Stafford
know.
and
That was an
Chandler's.
exaggeration, guys. But
It's
you
1
know,
on 11 on Sunday.
We can't tell because you're using your announcer voice.
he's like Katy Perry. He is hot and cold, but this week he is going to be hot. So
We couldn't
I'm
even
going to
get
go
a
with
half hour
Detroit.
Was
before
that
we got to
typed?
Katy Perry
Please tell me that was
references
on
from
the
him.
paper.
That was not typed. That was
Oh,
improv.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, God, don't improv it.
You go do stand up? Oh, you should go do stand up.
Please.
That's
Give
not
us your
gonna
best
happen.
joke right
Can
now.
we podcast
Just right
it?
now on
Can we
spur of
critique
the moment.
you
Your
while
opening joke. Your opening joke would be what?
The Green Bay Packers.
Oh, okay. He may have a career in this.
Was that you're just gonna walk out on stage and say Green Bay Packers?
It's a walk-off. It's a walk-off joke.
You're going to walk out there with a crowd of like 200 people and just say Green Bay Packers, drop the mic and leave?
Exactly.
You think 200 people are showing up to amateur mic night?
I would get.
This is why I don't go to improv.
I would get a lot of
here.
laughs.
This is why I don't go to improv.
All right. So we got two for Lions, 2 for Saints. Not a lock of the week. Definitely a split game. Probably a more entertaining game than most people think. And now,
Look at this dumpster fire.
prepare your noses for the sniffer of the week. The Dolphins.
Go back to the stats right there. I know people at home can't see this.
Yeah, you can't
go
see
back.
it. We have the rankings are in front of us, ladies and gentlemen. What we're looking at here is offense, defense, passing, and rushing.
32nd ranked offense for the Dolphins, 31st ranked rushing offense, 32nd ranked passing offense. This is what the Rams last year.
And the
I think.
8th ranked defense.
Yep.
8th ranked. That's not going to matter in Atlanta.
And
Although
they've also played shitty players.
Atlanta could also be 1-3 if some of those games went a little bit different.
They didn't really blow anybody out. They weren't super impressive.
Their only solid win was
But
against
they're
Green
coming
Bay.
off a bye week. So
They're coming off a bye week.
whose game
It's
is
at home.
Yours?
This is my game.
But Atlanta is 11-point favorites. So
Yeah, and
I'm
they
just
should be.
throwing
They
that
should
out
be.
there.
They should be 20-point favorites because Jay Cutler and the Dolphins are an absolute train wreck.
I hope he tries to play receiver.
They
again.
can't score. I mean, they can't
Oh,
score.
I love that Wildcat.
If Atlanta scores a touchdown on the opening possession, they could just rest everybody the rest of the game.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Atlanta easy. It's an 11-point line. I'd say they win this game by 20
All right.
comfortably. I'd say you could really, fantasy-wise, you could start anybody on the Falcons offense. Devontae Freeman, they're going to go up by 10, and they're just going to
Tevin
keep.
Coleman.
So
Yeah, you
douchebag is going with Atlanta.
If it's a Falcon, start him.
Okay.
If it's a
it
Falcon, start him.
Okay.
Defense especially, right?
Yeah,
If you got the
yeah.
Falcons defense at home
That's a
against
pickup
this
of the week.
offense, against Jay
Yeah.
Cutler, yeah.
Yeah.
Jay Cutler's giving away picks.
And I'm gonna hop in here now. So for the reasons Mike said, I am also going
You don't
with
have to say
Atlanta.
I'm going to hop in here. You could just start talking.
Just start
What?
talking.
Just start talking.
Just start talking.
You don't have to
No,
raise your hand.
Don't
I-
use your female
I-
voice. Just
You don't have to raise your hand.
I like to say these things because fuck you guys. Anyway,
Way to assert
Back-
yourself there,
Chris
Tanner.
is just the profane
back to
friend.
the. You guys keep talking over me. I thought that was a rule. Anyway, so back to the game. Miami at Atlanta. This is going to be Irma 2.0. Atlanta's just going to steamroll Miami. What?
didn't say
Too
that.
soon? Too soon?
Thank you for the sensitivity, Chris.
You couldn't even use like Harvey. You couldn't even use,
Harvey was Texas.
but you couldn't even use like a real reference to something from this decade, like these last year.
Wasn't that the hurricane that hit Florida?
Irma was 2 months ago, Adam.
Irma was?
Irma
Yeah.
was the
That was
hurricane.
a different name.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
No, it was definitely Irma.
I do know my
Fucking
political
forgot already,
events,
Jesus.
So you're going with the Falcons.
That's not a
I
political
am.
event. That's the weather.
Yeah.
which is very
I don't
political,
pay attention to it, 'cause
according
the
to
weather is
Trump.
always the same.
Don't politicize weather, Chris. So
All
you're
right,
going ATL.
I'm going Falcons.
Yeah.
I don't even need to say shit. I'm going Falcons.
Yeah, why are we
It's
talking about this
Falcons,
game?
yeah.
Like, I mean,
Falcons. Give us another.
32nd ranked
defense.
offense.
Let's just lock it in. We
Gives
don't need to
another
hear from
lock.
Josh.
Oh, actually,
Falcons
we do.
defense, the
It's
second
actually
most
time to
added
hear from
defense in
Josh.
fantasy this week on ESPN, up 24% ownership, and there's a reason. It's because Jay Cutler doesn't give a fuck. Falcons.
Here we go.
Very well
Josh,
said.
it's your turn, sir. We are on to the New England Patriots versus the New York Jets in.
With surprising the same record.
Yeah.
I
surprising.
just can't believe it myself. It's going to be a lot closer, I think, than people imagine. It's a 9.5-point spread. I'm going to beat you to it, Chris. And it's in
Thank
New
you.
York, but the big surprise of the year is the Patriots defense can't stop shit. I mean, I think we could all go out there and rush for 45 yards, and it's just pathetic that they can't seem to get anything together with all that continuity on their team. I do think the Jets are a little pissed off. They've been overlooked and made fun of pretty much by all of us since January, and I think
Since
that
the
they
butt
took a
fumble.
little bit of that and made a chip on their shoulder.
Since the butt
I
fumble.
think this game's going to be a lot closer. I'm actually calling the upset here. I'm taking the Jets 2017 over the Patriots in a hard-fought home win. The
Would that really
Todd
be an
Bowles
upset?
Super Bowl.
Would that be an upset?
It would be an upset. Patriots are 9.5-point favorites. They think the Patriots are going to steamroll them.
What game have the Patriots dominated this year?
What about the over/under, Josh?
That's why
47
he's taking
points.
The Jets, though. Are you
I'm
agreeing
taking
with him, or are
the
you
under
acknowledging
with
him
my
to-
2017.
I don't know what my point is, but
Yeah, I don't know where this is
I was going to say, where are you going with this?
Patriots are not
Fantasy-wise-
that good this year.
No, they're
Yeah, fantasy-wise, players to watch. Patriots, I think everybody has no idea what the hell Bill Belichick's going to do in his backfield.
Yeah,
No one
let's
ever
see.
does. Gronkowski is usually good for 3 or 4 receptions
He was
before
out.
falling apart.
Yeah, he's-
Out last
I'm going to
week.
go with Danny Amendola is going to be my pickup this week.
His house
8 for 8 on his targets last
The
week.
former Ram.
Yep, former Ram, fearless across the middle, and the Jets
Biased.
linebackers suck. So that's going to be my fantasy player for the Pats.
And you wonder
For
why
the
you've
Jets,
never won a fantasy league.
championship game last year, asshole.
On display right here, but you lost, right?
not important. Jets players, surprisingly, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, who is Josh McCown's favorite target and realistically his only target, is still available in over 70% of leagues. So I think he is worth picking up and starting even because he is going to get a lot of targets.
I agree with that.
Yep,
All right,
that's my calls for the week.
I'm going to jump in here, and I think you forgot one
All
name.
right.
Gillisley is going to do pretty decent this week. I have a feeling that he's going to be all right. The only person I think we're forgetting here is Rob Gronkowski was injured last week. I have him. He was out. He had ribs problem or back problem or something. That guy's got more injuries than most players, and I'm kind of afraid that he's like one hit away from paralyzation. But I do think that the Jets are challenged, but I'm still taking the Patriots, man. I disagree. I think that there's got to be a game like last game when they played against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has a pretty decent defense. They still won, but they only won because Nick Folk gifted them the game. And
that's a whole subject coming up.
This guy, what a fucking asshole!
This guy sucks.
Oh my fucking yeah, he sucks. But I still think the Patriots they had a much better defense. I mean, they went up against. They did go against Mike Evans. I mean, and they went up against the muscle hamster who seemed to score, but they didn't blow them out by any means. There wasn't any major big plays that really went on. So. And I don't think that the Jets' offense is as good as the Tampa Bay offense.
Wait, muscle hamster?
Yeah.
No,
he came back from his suspension.
So you're going Pats.
I'm going Pats.
I'm going Pats. I think it's going to be closer than people think, though, because that's what the Patriots have been doing all year.
They do have a terrible team.
This is going to be something where it's like 17-14 and the Pats score at the end. It'll be 14-10 Jets until mid-fourth quarter.
Josh, who did you pick? The Jets?
I picked the Jets.
Ooh.
Aren't you the record keeper?
Well, yeah, I'm supposed to be writing this stuff down, but I don't pay attention to half the things
Playing
Josh says.
Minesweeper on your phone?
So anyway, back to my pick. I'm going to go with the Patriots, even though their defense is, as we said, a piece of shit, and they give up over 400 yards a game. I think their offense is actually pretty solid, and they're just going to outscore the Jets. So I would actually pick the Jets with the spread, though. Patriots are favored by 9.5, but I think it's going to be a close game. And I'm going with the over, 47 points.
Well, we don't have to
Real
pick
quickly,
the over,
real
but thank
quickly,
you for
just want to
that.
throw this
I know,
out
I
there.
just want to add in some extra colors.
One thing that I want to add to watch out for is the matchup Leonard Williams outside edge rusher versus Nate Solder. Nate Solder has been playing like shit this year. Tom Brady has an AC sprain in his shoulder, and if he doesn't have good protection, he's going to get hit a lot in that blind side, and it could be an aggravated injury that could end up being costly to the Patriots if they can't get him solid protection. So they're going to have to deploy some tight ends and some running backs to that left side of the line.
This is non-throwing shoulder.
All right, coast to coast.
All right.
49ers,
Here we go.
Skins.
Niners, Redskins.
That would be my game.
There you go.
Niners 0-5 this season. Sorry, Renee.
These teams are a combined 2-7.
Josh's wife, by the way. Yes. Redskins are 2-2, coming off a bye, so they're going to be well rested. Kyle Shanahan, he's in his.
You need to be well rested to play the 49ers.
I think
They're well
can
rested. They might be the 49ers.
Sadly,
at
no.
home.
Sadly, no. But Kyle Shanahan, he's in his first year coaching, and he's off to a rough start. I mean, it's kind of a sad start for the Niners, who are actually, I believe, a better team than most people give them credit for. If you look at their last 4 games, they've only lost by a combined 11 points. So, I mean, and the last 2 games, albeit against shitty teams like the Cardinals, sorry, home team, and the Colts, those 2 games, the losses came in overtime. So, I mean, just a little bit of unfortunate luck. However, I don't see their losing streak turning around. I'm going with the Redskins on this game.
Redskins, and I think that we should change this. If there's a team that's 0 in something, we should have like a 20-second shot clock to analyze this stuff. Redskins.
I actually am all in favor of
Redskins
that.
at home. Redskins at home.
All 3 of my games are 0 and something, so
We wanted to make it easy for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in here and say definitely Redskins, but I'm also gonna say 2 fantasy players that desperately need to do something are Jordan Reed. For the love of God, where has he been all season? He's done nothing but get injured.
very injury prone.
And I think that Kirk Cousins really needs to have that blowout game because he's
You like that?
yeah he needs to
Not
get
this year.
his contract name up so that he can start getting some recognition, because there are a lot of teams that are looking for better quarterbacks, and he's above average in some places, and if he had a right team around him, he could probably be pretty decent. Josh?
You know, that Niners defense, I think, is criminally underrated this year. I think they're actually a lot better than people give them credit for. Shanahan's got a solid team, but not a team that's ready to win yet. I think you're hesitant about starting Chris Thompson because that defensive line with Solomon Thomas is actually getting better as the weeks go on. I also think that we need to put out an APB for Jamison Crowder for robbery of all fantasy team draft picks because he has just been a dumpster fire this year. However, despite all of that, I think the Redskins squeak out an easy win this week.
Cardinals, Bucks.
Boom. Moving on.
In the toaster.
Oh, boy.
Down to the Cardinals,
battle
Bucks.
of the mediocre quarterback versus the probably should be in a retirement home quarterback. So, looking into this matchup, I actually began to ask myself, is Jameis Winston any good? And I'm beginning to wonder if that's not the case because going into this game, 7 touchdowns, 7 turnovers. He hasn't beaten anyone of note this year. They beat a Giants team that was completely on fire, and he's beaten a hapless Texans team that wasn't starting Watson. It's just not anything worth writing home about for Winston, and I just don't see him moving up in the quarterback rankings like everybody expects him to this year. So I think it's going to be a lot of hard questions at the end of the season for Tampa. That being said, Carson Palmer has no left tackle. He has no number 1 running back. He's down to Larry Fitzgerald, who is 34, and he can throw to him, and that's about it, even though he's got talented players like J.J. Nelson and Jerron Brown.
Cardinals blew him out last year.
He's not going to get the time to throw to him. I think there's way too much pressure from the Bucs defensive line. I think this is going to be a tight game. I do think that the Cardinals are going to be on the ropes season-wise if they can't get this win at home, especially with the Rams coming into Jacksonville and hopefully winning, and then the Seahawks going to continue rolling. So I'm taking the Cardinals and an upset here, a little bit of an upset, and I think this is their get-right game. I think the Buccaneers are starting to spiral a little bit.
Are you not going to mention Adrian Peterson?
No, I'm not going to mention Adrian Peterson until he actually shows me he can still play football.
Over under 6.5 carries.
I'm going under 6.5 carries and over 2.5 hissy fits. So, real quick, fantasy player to watch besides Larry Fitzgerald is I'm going to call for Jerron Brown just because mostly he's on my team. But 6'2", he's fast, he's agile, he can get open.
And
Carson
Bucks
Palmer
can't
just needs to
cover
get him the
anyone.
fucking football.
True. I'm going to jump in here.
Again, just talk.
I know, but I'm going to say – I thought you were about to talk. But I'm going to say I'm going to go Tampa because I think that they're going to try to rely on Peterson, but he's going to get blasted. Their line is garbage. Their defense is getting tired, and it's like a retirement community out there. They just keep hiring people that are way past their prime. If this stuff would have been 2009, they'd have been fantastic, but no. It's falling apart, and Carson Palmer seems to be making worse and worse decisions. The other thing is, it's due for a breakout game. They've had now that they have Doug Martin back, that's the muscle hamster, by the way. They have Mike Evans. They have Safarian or not? What's his name? Hooper, isn't it?
Cameron Braid.
Or Cameron? No, is their tight end still Braid?
Yeah.
So they have, as long as they can get their kicking situation right. Tampa Bay would have won that game last week against the Patriots. Thanks to Nick Folk literally shanking every punt or every kick that he had. Otherwise, that game's over. They don't lose at all. They were even giving them better field position than they would have had if they had made these field goals. So, and they still held them to almost losing on a pass at the very end of the game. It was ridiculous. So, I am taking Tampa Bay. I don't have any faith in the Cardinals. I hate all of your fans, and I'm glad that Phoenix is listening. I'm sorry. I don't care.
It's aggressive.
And the Cardinals could be 1-4. I mean, if we're really talking about it.
This is true.
Yeah, I mean, I got to echo that. I mean, I think Tampa Bay, which team do you ultimately trust is going to do better throughout the course of the season? I'm going to go with Mike Evans, Jameis Winston. They could have made some kicks. They would have won last week. And, I mean, until the Cardinals show you something. I think you got to go Tampa Bay. I think you got to go Tampa Bay. I don't know. I mean, I think you got to go Tampa Bay.
I completely agree. Reluctantly, I'd like to see the home team win, but Tampa Bay, Jameis Winston's going to have a bounce back week.
Reluctantly, you'd like to see the home team win. What?
Yeah, I'm a closet Cardinals fan. I mean,
Closet, all right.
Oh, hold on. We need to pause.
You're a bandwagon Lotta fan.
Closet paper hoarder from work.
Exactly. Hey, I get my paper for free.
That's a paper thief.
And this
not
is
holder.
this is a free pick for you listeners.
Is it
out
free for
there.
your company?
Anyway, anywho,
Simulator pays for it.
Anywho, Tampa Bay, they're going to win. They're going to beat the spread of 2.5 points that they are favored. And the only Brown that's going to be getting touchdowns on Arizona is Josh Brown. Sorry, Josh.
Wow.
Okay.
So 3 Tampa Bays and 1 Buccaneers. All right.
Amjacks.
Or 3 Tampa Bays, 1 Cardinals. All right. So we're going to skip one. We'll come back to you, Josh. But we're going to go to the Steelers at the Chiefs.
Oh boy.
That's a good game.
It's
That's
my game.
probably the best game of the week.
It's my game, so I got to talk about it.
If Roethlisberger doesn't retire.
What happened last
before-
weekend, buddy?
So, yeah.
How'd it go?
Let's talk about that. First off,
They're coming in hot, right?
these two experts, ladies and gentlemen, start Ben Roethlisberger over Carson. Okay, well, whatever.
It was a dumpster fire either way.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
Carson didn't do much.
All right, let's talk about it. So first off, Ben is playing unbelievably shitty football in his career. Do I think he's done? Nope. I do not think he's done. I think that he has thrown enough times to Antonio Brown to show that he's definitely not done. I think that he's just lost. There's another factor to this that most people aren't paying attention to. Marcus Gilbert has been out with an injury for a few weeks now, and it's just gotten progressively worse. The other thing that I think is really screwing up his tempo is there's no balance in our offense. We're either throwing 50 passes or we're running it 34 times. Don't really know what the difference is or why. They're not doing a balanced offense. But I will say it this way. Kansas City is super banged up after that game last week. They have a lot of injuries in their report this week. Houston being one of them. A couple of their tackles are on it as well. What do I think is going to happen? Toss up, but I'm going to go with the homer pick. I think that we bounce back in a big way. Our defense is actually looking damn
Our defense.
He suits up on Sundays.
Your bias is
Our.
literally
You're right.
pouring out of your eyes right now.
That's what I like for my team. So the Steelers defense. Is
Steelers
looking-
by 60.
No, they're
Careful, you're between two Steelers fans.
They're
here.
And a nail biter.
They're looking a lot better this year. Their defense is actually ranked a lot better than people are giving them credit for. Their defense is 4th in the league, and the Chiefs' defense is 27th or 21st. I can't read that, but
27.
27th. So I think that they have a lot better defense than people are giving them credit for. They're getting a lot of sacks. They're young. They're pretty quick. And we aren't even using James Harrison anymore, which is kind of surprising. So I'm picking the Steelers, fantasy pick-wise, really quickly. One player that hasn't been doing a lot on the Chiefs that I think will probably get a lot is going to be Tyreek Hill, because I think the Steelers are going to be focused on Travis Kelce and Kareem Hunt, and Tyreek Hill is going to be open on the edges.
Remember Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, that was a fun
been a
few
while.
weeks.
Yeah, he's due for a breakout game, and the Steelers always seem to cover two people really well and
Can't-
leave the third wide receiver.
Can't
wide the
lose
fuck
3
open
times
all
in a
the
row.
time. And the
We're due.
for the Steelers, I think a good pick this week is definitely Juju Smith-Schuster.
I agree with that.
I think that Bell's going to
The
be
good juju.
Bell's going to be covered. Jesse James isn't strong enough to spread the field, and I think Juju Smith is coming on. He's the youngest player in the league, and he's doing really well this year for himself as a slot wide receiver.
All right, let's come back to reality here. Chiefs at home, 5-0. I know they're banged up,
But they barely beat Washington.
and you guys lost at home to the Jags.
But they barely beat Washington. They barely beat Washington.
Do you want to relive the Jaguar game?
I do, but the Jaguars are a much better defensive
Very good
end than they
defense.
were, and also Ben got super flustered and then just started.
You guys were at home.
gunslinging
This is in Kansas. This is in Kansas City.
where we won in the playoffs.
We are in Kansas, Toto.
Where we won in the playoffs with the worst defense.
This is in Kansas City.
Where we won in the playoffs.
Roll Chiefs.
I
Anyway,
am going to join the Tomahawk,
Mark that down.
especially if Kelsey's
I
healthy.
did.
I just don't see how the number 1 offense is going to get slowed down by
Number
what
2 offense.
Just number 2 offense? Oh, my mistake. I'm sorry. That's going to make it so much worse then. I don't see how the Steelers and all their dysfunction are going to get it together to go play in Arrowhead against a rolling Chiefs team. So I'm taking the Chiefs as well.
well, the jersey says it all. I'm going with the Steelers this game. The Jaguars
Shocker.
game last week kind of shook my confidence a little bit, so I
little bit.
considered picking the Chiefs, but I think Ben's going to have a bounce back week. I mean, he's dealing with a couple of divas on the team, and Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, but he's
Mike
kind of
Tomlin.
he's the parent, he's the father, and the coach, of course. But he's the parent, he's the father figure there. He's been with the team 14 years. He's going to be bouncing back this week. Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be Kamehamehaing all day in the end zone.
Let me ask
I'm
you
going
this.
with the
Let
Pittsburgh
me ask you this. Ben
Steelers.
throws 5 picks again this week. You sit him?
Yep.
5 picks this week. Is that it?
5 touchdowns this week.
Ben done in Pittsburgh?
If he throws 5 picks, they're gonna start him again. But what they're gonna do is they're just gonna hand it off and start doing bubble
Every
screens
time.
every fucking time.
Every
That's what
time.
they're gonna do. They're gonna throw bubble screens.
9 in the box a game.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna do.
All right, let's go to the
By the
team
way,
that annihilated.
By the way, so some feedback from externally, if you want to hear it. Your brother says that Chris has given him cancer due to the puns. So Kyle now has cancer
Kyle, hang in there, Kyle.
awareness.
Kyle, you want
The
to call in?
wristbands are on order, Kyle.
Yeah. All right, Josh, we're coming back to you because this is the ugliest uniform matchup of the year.
Now, what the hell is this?
Los Angeles Rams versus the Los Angeles Rams, who can't figure out why white and gold don't match, versus Jacksonville Jaguars at
This looks like something I ate. Like, it came out the wrong end after some...
3-2, surprising 3-2 teams. Josh, take it away.
So I'm going to go ahead and skip over the barbaric NFL rules about changing jerseys and not even talk about the Cowboys bungle that we had there with that uniform. It was an eyesore to everybody. The ugliest win.
Here comes
both
a homer
literally and
pick.
Figuratively.
Here
in
comes a
team
homer
history.
pick. Does anyone here think he's going to pick the Jags?
No, let him finish.
Anyway, skimming right over this. This actually could be the number 2 game of the week behind Chiefs Steelers. It's actually the number 3 secondary versus the number 5 passing offense. So it's actually going to turn out to be a much more formidable matchup than people thought going into this week. One thing that I wanted to note is while everybody's talking about the 2 outside corners, A.J. Boye and Jalen Ramsey, the Rams have had 6 different players with 75 yards receiving at one point this year. So Jags got a good defense, but they can't cover 6 players all at the same time. So for me, I think it's going to be an interesting matchup to watch, especially right in the middle of the line. Malik Jackson, the defensive tackle from Jacksonville, against Jamon Brown and Andrew Sullivan of the Rams middle of the line. I think if they can push Jared Goff back and make him throw off his back foot, he's going to make a lot of mistakes, and he's going to throw more ducks like he did last week. So that being said, I think Sean McVay, he has worked wonders. He has made Jared Goff go from Ryan Leaf to, I don't even know, his ceiling is unlimited right now. I think Aaron Rodgers should be shaking in his boots as number 1 quarterback in the league. But fantasy players real quick to watch. For the Jaguars, I definitely think it's going to be Leonard Fournette. I mean, there's really no one else you feel confident about. Their receivers are garbage with they got Marquise Lee, Allen Robinson down for the year. There's just no one worth starting in the receiving core. Mercedes Lewis is a joke. I think Fournette's the only guy you really can start on the offensive side of the ball. Jags defense probably a sneaky pick as well. For the Rams side, I think one of the lowest owned players in the NFL that's worth starting is Gerald Everett, their tight end. He actually went out against Cam Chancellor last week and totally owned his ass in a Y route and almost had a touchdown. It just couldn't hold on to it. So
Just couldn't catch it. It's just,
if he holds on to that ball,
catch
a break. Fantasy day. He just made a mental error. He won't make that again. So I know this is going to come as a big shock to those 3 chuckleheads in the room, but I am taking the Rams to cover the 2.5-point spread. I think it's going to be an ugly game. Thunderstorms and showers predicted all day in Jacksonville. It's going to be an ugly 14-10 win for the Rams.
Who have the Rams beat, or who have the Rams lost to? Dallas?
That's the surprise of the week right there.
Dallas and who?
And the Skins. Oh, no, they beat Dallas. They beat the lost to the Skins and the Seahawks.
So the 2 actual teams they've played.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Jacksonville.
Yeah, what a shocker.
I'm not going with Jacksonville because they beat the Steelers. I'm going with Jacksonville because I don't think Jared Goff can beat the Jaguars. So
I agree.
They hate us because they ain't us.
I'm going with Jacksonville because, as you said, Leonard Fournette, he's going to run train all over the Rams.
But
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, though. The over-under is at 42.5. If you're a gambling person, I would go over on that game.
But the Rams have played 2 good defenses and lost to 2 good defenses.
That's why I'm picking
Cowboys
Jacksonville.
Are not a good
The
defense.
Cowboys are terrible defense. They've got about 13
And they put up
rookies,
35
so-
on the Cowboys.
Yeah, the Cowboys are not a good defense.
And for the record, the Rams could have won that game last week. Jared Goff was absolutely masterful on that last drive. The only thing that kept him from winning that game was being an inch too long on that Cooper Kupp pass in the end zone. They could have easily won that game and been sitting at 4-1 right
Jacksonville 24-10.
What about Cooper Kupp, Josh? Is he a start this week?
now. I think Cooper Kupp is it's a tough call because it depends on how their linebackers deploy to get at him. He loves to go across the middle of the field. He is one of those guys that doesn't hesitate to get hit, but he also has started hearing some footsteps. Last week, he dropped a very obvious pass waiting for contact.
This is the
I
third
think
time you've mentioned someone dropped something last week.
I know. It was a sloppy game last week in L.A. There's no excuses for it. There's clearly a lot of bad play, but I think Cooper Kupp is worth starting. I just don't feel confident about it.
All right, next.
Moving on. Los Angeles Chargers at the Oakland Raiders.
This
Two
is me.
teams that have abandoned their cities.
The orphanage teams.
Well, it's in Oakland, but Los Angeles plays road games all the time at home, so
Yeah.
they're fine. They're fine for a road game.
They haven't played a
here
home
in
game
Oakland.
since 2007.
Yeah, they've played 5 road games this year. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chargers here. You've got Derek Carr. You don't know what the hell's going on there. Even if he comes back, you don't know what you're gonna expect out of him. The broken bone. even when he was in there, they just haven't played very well this season. Marshawn Lynch averages what, like 1.3 yards a carry. That's an exaggeration, but it's not good. It's not good.
Not that far off.
Total beast mode.
It's not good. It's not good. And Keenan Allen's active in this game, right? Yep. So I'm going to go with Keenan Allen as my fantasy play because you got to go with Keenan Allen the 4 games a year you get him. So this is one of the few opportunities you have to actually start Keenan Allen. I don't want anyone on the Raiders. The only play I would say would be Marshawn Lynch, but
Melvin Gordon.
it doesn't matter. Yeah, sure, play Melvin Gordon. That's not a bad pick either.
I'd like to add
I'll go Keenan Allen
Crabtree's been
because
doing well for me.
3 weeks from now, Keenan Allen's going to be on IR. So if there's ever a chance to
that's
play him.
ambitious.
The chemistry that existed.
Oh, and I'm going to go with Chargers, by the way.
Yeah,
for the
chemistry that existed between Carr and Amari Cooper does not exist between any other quarterback and Amari Cooper. Also, Amari Cooper seems to be getting triple teamed and can't get out of them or double teamed. So he's not catching anything. That's why Cooper's wide open. Or I'm sorry, Crabtree's open all the time. I am also going to go with the Chargers because I think that Phillip Rivers is just retarded enough to win one. So I think he can actually do it. And I think the Raiders secondary is absolutely garbage. Mack isn't motivated to get anywhere because he knows his quarterback's out. I don't think Carr is going to play. Going with the Chargers.
In this very exciting game, I'm going with the Chargers.
Enough said.
Enough said.
Wow, a lot of love for the Chargers, and as someone who has to deal with listening to their shit every week, I can tell you for a fact there is no confidence in the Chargers from anybody except for maybe Phillip Rivers' mom. I'm taking the Raiders. However, the sneaky play of the week for them is on the Chargers side of the ball is Hunter Henry. They've realized Antonio Gates should have died 20 years ago, and they have stopped throwing the ball to him. Hunter Henry's getting a lot more calls, and I think he's going to just be a monster tight end in this league.
Okay.
Cool.
What else can you say about that game?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing that needs to be said.
Ooh,
I think
here's a lock of the week for
This-
somebody.
This should be the permanent lock of the week. This should be the lock of the week.
Whoever the Giants are playing.
Whoever the Giants are playing should
Oh, good God.
honestly.
Yeah.
So before we actually get into the debate about this game, let's ask ourselves this question: what are the damn odds of the number of people that got injured in that last game and the caliber of the people that got injured in that game? How do you lose all your receivers? All of them. Like, they're all gone. I don't know anybody that's a receiver except maybe Sterling Shepard, and I think he's injured too.
Let me read you the new receiving core of the New York Football Giants. We've got Tavares King, Travis Rudolph, and Ed Egan.
Sounds like an A already.
It sounds like the starting roster of a Christmas caroling group to me.
That was a written down joke.
That was a written down joke. You could absolutely
That was a written
tell.
down joke, yes.
Because he was
Longer
laughing
to
before he
read
read
than
it.
But it's just as funny as it sounds. The Giants are absolutely terrible.
Are we really
I mean,
analyzing this? I thought we put a 20-second shot
Yeah,
clock on
20
this.
seconds.
All right, fine. I mean, it's a perfect storm. Broncos coming off a bye. They're 12-point favorites. What else is
Trevor
needs to be
Siemian
said?
looking good.
Trevor Siemian is looking good. This will be a confidence boost this week. I would pick the Broncos to beat that spread. They're going to win by over 14 points.
I bet you Broncos corners score more touchdowns than Giant wide receivers this game.
Jason Pierre-Paul is going to be able to count the number of points the Giants get on his hand. So just saying that.
What, 4?
Wow, we're still using the fireworks jokes from
Two
last year.
safeties.
That's solid.
Well,
has
he's
3 fingers.
he's still missing those fingers.
And the game no one outside of Indianapolis and Tennessee is going to watch. Oh, by the way, is anyone not picking the Broncos?
Are you picking the Broncos?
No, they just need to win a damn game in New York, and they're not going to win a damn game.
Yeah, so Broncos across the board, lock of the week.
Is
All right.
anyone watching on Monday night?
No, here's the game that we all talk about. Nobody was specific to this one, so once again we'll all come in on this one. I don't know. What do you say, Mike? What do you think?
It's a bad football game.
Yeah, it's not a good game.
I'm going to jump, though, right to my fantasy play because T.Y. Hilton is the one player that has performed very well for Indianapolis offensively. Jacoby Brissett finds him we had like 100 and something yards last game. I'm going to go with T.Y. Hilton as my fantasy play here, but I don't know. Can I vote that this ends in a tie? A tie?
Yeah, you can.
I mean, you could.
Don't put that down.
I'll give you an extra point if you get it right.
Tennessee's
If you
gonna
call
win
the tie, you get 5 points.
Tennessee's going to win at home, but does anyone really care?
No. I don't even know if Mariota's playing. I do know that there is a big problem brewing behind the scenes with Andrew Luck now. This is out of control at this point. Do you blame the line? Do you blame the protection? Do you protect
Well, the team said he was going to be ready for this year, all off
They
season.
said not this year. and not next week. Or not this week and next week, but they think the week after. So like week 7.
No, but
or
if,
week 8.
if you go back 2, 3, 4 months, the team was like, "Oh, he's going to be ready for opening day."
Yeah.
Or for
So
week
so
1.
either he's misreporting the injury, and it's far worse than people are talking about, or they're keeping people interested in it by continuing to leak this information, or the thing is he just keeps getting hurt.
So who wins?
Oh, I still think the Titans. I don't think the Colts have anything going on.
Is there anybody picking the Colts this game?
I think someone in the ESPN office is drinking heavily, thinking about how in the beginning of the year this was Andrew Luck versus Marcus Mariota, and now we have the Jacoby Brissett and what's his face, Matt Castle? Yeah, Matt Castle matchup. Good lord.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
someone's going to be losing a job for that one. But
It's gonna be Tennessee.
yeah, I think to Adam's point, I think the Colts are definitely playing some shell games with Andrew Luck. And at what point do you even consider bringing him back for the year? I mean, if they're falling out of the playoff race, do you even bother bringing him back to play again, or do you just let him sit out, let this team get blown up, and then sit on the number 1 pick next year?
I would actually drop Andrew Luck if he's on your fantasy team.
Right,
I
when
mean,
he's about to come back.
yeah,
You held on to him for 6 weeks, but
Yeah.
drop him now.
yeah, drop him now. Here's the reason. Obviously, this year it's an embarrassment of riches when it comes to quarterbacks. I mean, you've got even Deshaun Watson, who's now coming to the scenes. I mean, if you don't have a decent quarterback at this point, you're just a bad fantasy player. So
I
would
had
just-
Jacoby Brissett last week.
And Kyle, this is directed at you because you have 2 terrible quarterbacks, one of which is Andrew Luck. So
I think he
has
stopped
3.
listening
He had
about 20
Manning
minutes
on
ago.
Sunday.
okay, well he can listen to the replay. But anyway, we're locked at Tennessee. Is that right?
Yeah.
Lock it
I
in.
believe so.
Okay.
All right, so we want to wrap this up with pick. What the hell do we call it?
So
Lock of the week.
Lock of the week.
Lock
So
of the
out
week.
so we had 5 locks that we went through. We talked about, we had Tennessee Titans Colts, we had Broncos Giants, we had what do we have as well?
We got well, obviously Giants, Denver, and that's got to be. I mean, no reason to
Falcons,
list the rest.
Dolphins, and do we have Packers Vikings? I think it was a lock.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I think Falcons Dolphins might be the better lock because I think Jay Cutler is out of fucks to give.
I think Falcons Dolphins. I mean, I think the Broncos one is almost too easy. I think Falcons Dolphins.
Yeah, Falcons Dolphins. I'd agree.
Yeah, you're right. Jay Cutler doesn't give a shit. 32nd
Giants
ranked
defense
offense.
is tougher than people anticipate too.
Getting
Giants
paid.
defense.
How much
is
are
pretty
they
solid.
paying him?
$10 million.
This
$10
year?
million. They would have bet.
He
They
didn't
would have
wanna
burned
play-
slower if they actually lit it on fire.
He didn't want to play. Hey Jay, can you just come throw like 3 picks and 1 touchdown a game, and we'll pay you $10 million? Yeah, I'd get out of bed too.
Yep, I'd find a way to put pants on and go to Miami as well.
I'd be stunned if Atlanta loses.
I think
Yeah,
we
if Atlanta
should
loses, start looking for some heads to roll. Mike Smith will be out on the street the next day.
Well, that's not true at all. But
we should have Jay Cutler guest star on this podcast.
Jay, if you're listening, come on.
Seriously.
We'd love to have you. We'd love to pick your brain. And we'd also drink 40s with you on air.
I'd even sit and talk to Tony Romo if you're out there listening, Tony. Just
Oh, Tony's way above our pay grade right now.
Oh, I know.
He's actually not bad on Thursday nights. I actually think he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's really like a prognosticator. It's pretty interesting.
He's
He also
actually
has a lot
decent
more-
at golf too. He's what, a
Rel-
3 handicap?
Wow.
You just had to throw in the golf reference. I was going to say, the funny thing is people are thinking he's overcompensating for calling all the plays ahead of time and trying to prove too much, but I actually find his diagnosing of the play fascinating, especially when he calls it right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, fellas,
So now, let's see.
Any odds and ends we want to cover?
No.
Talk about
Well,
Chris's embarrassing stories for all those listeners.
Yeah.
No,
No.
those are next week. Stay tuned.
We'll wait until we pick up.
that's
the
episode.
traffic.
That's episode 1. Remember, this is the pilot, not even episode 1.
So just
Gotta
for
save
everybody who
that,
knows, we'll have our YouTube channel. We'll figure out a website soon enough. Like us, subscribe to us if you are paying attention or watching.
Even if you're
Comment
not,
if you want.
subscribe anyway.
We'll comment. back.
Snapchat it,
Yeah, Snapchat it. We'll send it to you guys.
Instagram,
Follow me on Twitter.
Facebook.
And then we'll keep track
Do
of all the
not
games.
follow
Pinterest.
Chris on
Keep
Twitter.
track of the scores.
Pinterest.
So that every week you can make fun of
Craigslist.
if you like.
Craigslist. Man, we are soliciting in the wrong places if we ended up on Craigslist.
Mike, is there anything you want to tell us? Are you the Craigslist killer?
Wow. And it went to a dark place.
On that
Yes,
note,
it did.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate it. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
peace.
Love you all.
Fuck you all.
Bye.